I'd have to agree with every member here that's running for council, but personally, one of my biggest strengths is I believe a lot in diversity and um, diversity and having constructive arguments and debates to come to good resolutions for our citizens. One of the, I listen very well. I have a lot of ideas that can improve our city. One of the major issues with, I believe with Taylor is, honestly, we have an aging population. We need to attract young, growing families to contribute to our schools, our districts, our programs. I believe we have some of the greatest resources in the Don River area. And with that, we can create some great programs for our kids growing up, like Butch has said. And we have great people here that are running and want to improve our city for the greater betterment of our residents. Thank you.
I'm not much of a public speaker, but I'm a good communicator. One-on-one, I'll talk to anybody about anything. My strengths are my knowledge of the city. I know every 24 square miles of the city intimately. As John knows, as Butch knows, when you ride around in a patrol car, you see a lot of things that a lot of people don't realize go around in the city. And, I mean, there's a lot that goes on in the city. Taylor's a very diverse city. There's all kinds of races, population, income levels. Certain parts of the city, the homes aren't worth a lot. Certain parts of the city, the homes are worth a lot. It needs to all work together as a whole. I want to make Taylor a city where people want to move to, where people, I mean, Taylor needs a better reputation. Taylor, I get so mad when people call Taylor Tucky. It's like, come on, that's a long time ago. I just want to make Taylor a great place to live, raise families. I want to see people, more homeowners. We don't need a lot of renters. Renters don't take pride in the city. It's like they're just staying there for a minute. Where a homeowner will take pride in their city and make it a great place to live. That's it.
Again, I'm Tim Woolley. I'd say my major strength is honesty. I don't lie to people. I won't lie to people. A lot of times people will come up and ask me a question and I'll say, I can answer it, but you're not going to like it. Because I don't want to be lied to myself. When I decided to get into this, I've had politicians come to my door and I'd always invite them in or sit down on the porch and talk to them. And I've had many of them lie right to my face. And I swore that if I ever got into this, I would never do that. So honesty is probably my biggest strength. And I'm not afraid, including in that honesty, I'm not afraid to say like, okay, like Councilman Berzero was saying, me and him have become quite close because I've leaned on Dan a lot in the beginning because I'm a truck driver. I didn't know nothing about budgets. Dan was a banker. So then Dan, in return, didn't know a lot about unions. So I was a Teamster and I was a committee man for 16, 17 years. And he would come to me and ask questions. And we would argue left and right. But at the end of the day, we would both decide, hey, you know what, you're right, and vice versa. So I think that's one of my biggest strengths. The biggest issue, I would have to say, I would like to see a little growth in our DPW department, and I'm a huge stickler. You can ask our building department person. I'm in her office once a week asking her updates on tearing down houses. Because I grew up in the northwest corner, and when I go back into my old neighborhood where my dad lives, I see many dilapidated houses. So I'm always wanting those torn down, because if you're gonna buy a house and you drive down the street and you see this one boarded up, you see this one boarded up, and that one's burnt out, what are you gonna do? You're gonna turn right around and call your realtor and go, where are you sending me? So that is a big focus of mine, and that's one of the things I think we really need to work on. But I've also learned there's a lot of red tape in tearing down a house, and it takes a lot longer than I like. So thank you.
All right, so we've kind of set the time limit for this forum at 9 o'clock, so I'm going to try and stick to that. So my guess is this will be the last question that we're going to be able to get to. Now, I know the candidates are going to be here for an hour or so after the forum is over at 9 o'clock, so from 9 to 10. If your question did not get answered, you'll have the opportunity to ask individual candidates what their thoughts are on your question. But two of the candidates in their answers to this last question mentioned the word diversity, and that seems to have been a theme in a number of questions. So I think we'll just address that at this point. One of the questioners said Taylor is big geographically, and there are several neighborhoods that have a large percentage of minority residents. These neighborhoods need assistance in leadership. So the question is, and really it's a two-part question, do you as a candidate have any thoughts as to how Taylor can promote diversity in the city of Taylor? And secondly, what plans do you have to address the issues of homelessness, transients, and drugs within our community? Again, those were themes in a number of questions, and I'm trying to kind of paraphrase them all in one question. So I don't know who wants to start. I know we've kind of gone from, well, we'll go from that end again.
With all those questions, can I see that card?
Diversity and drugs.
Okay.
Well, as far as diversity, I'm all for diversity. I love the fact that, it shows that Taylor is turning. Councilman Garza is the youngest person ever to be elected, and he's also the first Hispanic to be elected. So we are, unfortunately, our police chief, who's one of the first female chiefs in the state of Michigan, is just retiring, and she's done a great job. I'm all for, anybody that can do the job. If you're a woman, you should make just as much as a man. I'll say that as well, too. As far as drugs, our chief has done a lot of outreach with our Taylor on Watch in the group. Heroin is becoming an epidemic all around the country, and we are seeing it more and more downriver. So they're doing outreaches on that and stuff like that, trying to make people more aware, parents more aware and stuff like that. Homelessness, we do have ChristNet. That's where, unfortunately, when there's a lot of people that do contact the city, that's where we usually direct them. The panhandlers, they're not necessarily homeless. We do get a lot of complaints on that. It is their legal right to panhandle. There's nothing we can do unless they are literally stopping traffic. If they're at a red light and all that, they are allowed to do it. I personally don't like it either, but as a truck driver and a delivery guy, it's everywhere. I see it in every city that I go to. So there's not a lot we can do. So I appreciate it.
Well, Taylor is a very diverse community. I don't think you need to work too much on the diversity. It's happening before our eyes already. The drug problem's very bad in Taylor. Downriver as a whole, it's very bad. Lincoln Park's the worst from last night, the data that I've seen. It just needs more enforcement. There's not a lot you can do. I mean, there should be more outreach programs. There's a lot of churches in the city. I attend a church in Taylor, and we have a great youth group, and they work with kids with problems and stuff. Can't even remember all the questions you asked.
How would you address homelessness, transients, and
Okay,
drugs?
homelessness, that goes along too with the church groups. There's not a lot the city council can do about homelessness. They can make the city more affordable to people. They can improve businesses in the city where the businesses will provide jobs, will provide income for people where they can afford more things. Taylor has a lot going for it. There's a lot of new businesses moving in. It's improving the job outlook in Taylor. Yeah, Taylor, I mean, it's a great place. It's moving up. I want to keep it moving up. I don't want to see it moving back. I want to keep it progressing going forward. Thank you.
All right. Well, some diversity. We are a pretty diverse group here in Taylor. We can attract more with providing more programs for diversity. Work with other groups, communities, charities to bring diversity into our city. Some how to fight drugs and homelessness. Drugs is a big issue around the country. I see that a lot with the work I do. My office, we do a lot of outreach as far as coming out to school districts and cities and put on events to discuss how to fight drugs, some things to do. If you come across different things, drugs, somebody that's overdose, some ways you can do to help that person until our EMS or public first responders get there. Homelessness, again, that's something that we on council can't do a whole lot about. The businesses and charities can possibly help out, get them involved with the community, have them contribute to our charities and our businesses. Even our school districts can benefit from possibly getting them involved in different areas. Thank you.